Did you post on Facebook that we're going live now, or?
Yes, it's live now. And you just interrupted it.
I'm sorry.
All right. We are live at Strange Journeys. Let's take it off the beaten path, down a darkened alley, never looking back. Why not join our strange journeys? Do, 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 do. Hi, guys. Well, nobody's watching yet. Let's see if we can generate. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. What is that noise?
I'm typing.
Oh.
Ah. I'm trying to share. God, I had so many people saying they liked it and all this kind of stuff. All right, welcome to Strange Journeys. If you're here, let us know. We want to tell you what's going on and what will be happening. Making all kind of racket.
I am. I'm trying to get myself presentable. Wait a minute. Okay. Yep.
All right.
Well, they'll at least be able to watch it later if they don't watch it right now live. So.
Right. All right. Thank you for sharing. Welcome to Strange Journeys. Thank you for being here. Be sure to leave a comment where you're from, where you're listening from, where you're watching from. We appreciate y'all being here. We're going to go ahead and get started. What is wrong with that? All right, we're getting some feedback, folks. Who's feeding back?
It's quiet here.
Okay. All righty. Well, I'm Tom Rouse, and we are here to kind of introduce y'all to who we are, what we're doing, and what all's going to be going on in the weeks and months to come as we start this live stream type podcast. Just to quickly tell you who we are. Strange Journeys is a live stream podcast exploring the strange, the unusual, the unique, paranormal entities, items, experiences that exist in our world. We're going to be hosted by a small team of researchers and enthusiasts. And we're talking about what we like in the paranormal and the strange and the unusual. And it's going to be informal like this, panel-based discussion format. But we're going to have at times special guests that we're going to interview, we're going to talk to in different areas. And we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up. But we also want to hear from you guys. If you have had a strange or unusual experience, we want to hear about it. You can email us, message us on Facebook. Just let us know what you've experienced, and then we'll have you on the show sometime. And if you don't want to share, if you don't want to be on camera, that's fine. Then you can just write it all down, and we will share about it on here. But our purpose is just to entertain. We're here to have fun with you, with each other, and share our love of the strange and the unusual and paranormal, and getting you involved is the audience, whoever you are, wherever you are. But we're going to make sure that we're not going to spurn or in no way dismiss anyone's personal beliefs. We're here to respect it. And if it's a little different than what we may believe, that's okay. That's cool. But anyway, who we are, I'm Tom Rouse. And my wife, Lynn, is feeling under the weather today, so she wasn't able to be with us, but she will be in the future. And we basically morphed into this from something else, and I'll explain that in a minute. But who we have with us today is Christine Rogers. Wade. She's a local author, like you pulled a sword from a stone. She lives up around the Opelika, Alabama way, and she's got a couple of books out now, and we'll be talking about that also. As time goes on, she'll be sharing more about her books and where you can find those. She's technically one of the sponsors of the show. She doesn't really realize that, but she is. Because we'll be promoting her books as well. And then right over there is Beth White. And she's a paramedic from over Mississippi. And she has a love of all things strange and paranormal. So we'll be utilizing her. She lives over in Hurley, which is just down the road from where I grew up. So if anybody knows me, then you know where I grew up. So that's all we'll say about that. Anyway. All right, the rest of the team. I'm going to tell you the rest of the team, even though they're not here. That's the unique thing about this show. It's going to be, I'll be here every time because I'm the host, kind of my baby kind of thing. But we'll be having different, we got a panel, I call them my executive team for Strange Journeys. And the ones that are not here, I'll just tell you about them real quick. Tommy Pratt out of Tennessee. He has a Facebook page about haunted things in his area, and he's investigated several places up in that area. And when he can get on here, we'll be talking about some of the stuff he's gone over, but he's part of our executive team and the planning of all this. And Andrea Mateus is out of Ohio, and when she might even make it today, I'm not sure. It was her son's 10th birthday party, so we'll see. But also, I knew Andrea years ago through another organization, and I'll tell you about that in a minute, as well as Tim Shepard. Three of us were in another organization, paranormal based, several years ago, but I'll go into that when I go into the history of why we're doing what we're doing. And Tim Shepard is out of Kansas, Topeka area. He's written a couple of books about the haunted and the paranormal in that area. Plus, he also leads Raven Wind Tours in Topeka, one of the most popular haunted walking tours up there. And he's one of our sponsors too, by the way. So we're going to be hearing a lot from him. Buddy of mine, Donnie Mills, who's a musician. He's on the executive team. He can't be with us today. Dagny Taggart, she's an artist out of Pensacola. And let's see if I missed anybody. Nope, that's it. Of course, my wife. Well, we're introducing people. Beth, you or Christine want to greet the crowd? And tell you what, Beth, we would say hey.
Go ahead, Christine.
I was going to say the same thing. Hi, I'm Christine. Like Tom said, I live in Opelika with my husband. He's right there.
Hey.
And
I call him the Grim Reaper.
yes, he is my Grim Reaper. And we have 4 children, 2 of which are still at home, but not for much longer.
Oh, boy.
I do write novels. The ones that Tom was talking about is my action adventure mystery thrillers with a twist. They're good, clean reads. That's pretty much it.
All right, tell them why you wrote the books.
Well, I started writing, helping my eldest daughter write because she wanted to try her hand at it. And I was helping her edit and whatnot. And I got hurt and was unable to work. And somebody told me that I couldn't do it. So I figured, prove me wrong and do it.
There you go.
And I've had some really interesting dreams. And that's where most of my ideas come from when I write. So I've got a very vivid imagination.
All right. And you've published 2 so far?
I have. Not My Time and Everything Burns the Beginning.
Okay.
And they're
I've got
available
both of those and I've read them, so y'all need to get them. Tell them where to find them.
on Amazon. I don't have the link on me. It's on Amazon. Just type in my name or the name of the books. And
Yeah.
I have a Facebook page, which is author
Christine Rogers. Yes. Cool. All right. Awesome. All right, Beth, your turn.
Paramedic for 20-something years, and always been interested since I was a kid. I think my dad got me into paranormal stuff, and I used to buy paranormal books from our book clubs at school, which everybody thought I was crazy. I've just always loved it. Grew up watching In Search Of, and then later, what's the one? Unsolved Mysteries, and which I have found that has scarred half the people in my generation. I loved it, especially whenever they started doing more of the paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
X-Files fan, definitely, and just a sci-fi fan, but I love all of it. Bigfoot, ghosts, UFOs, all of it. It all interests me.
Okay. Awesome. Well, you're a paramedic, so I'm sure you've seen some things
Yes.
that were just kind of off kilter.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let me tell everybody the purpose of this little live stream right now. You can see it at the bottom. It's a live stream preview. And what we're doing is we're actually officially starting next Saturday, the 14th? Yeah, May 16th. Next Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And so this is kind of a lead-in promotional for that. And what we're going to do on that show is each one of us in the panel is going to share our, what's the word I'm looking for? Beth said it a while ago, our origin stories. It's like we're superheroes, our origin stories. And so anyway, we're gonna what got us interested into the paranormal, or what was the most profound paranormal experience we ever had. Some people it's going to be angels, some people it's going to be demons, some people it's going to be UFOs, some people it's going to be Bigfoot, some people, different things. So, I mean, I know what mine was, and I don't know about Beth or Christine because we haven't talked about that because I was saving that for our first show. It's going to be Personnel Paranormal. That's the name of the show, by the way. Next week's show, Personnel Paranormal. And each of the executive team is going to share their personal paranormal story. That was the most influential or the first one for them. But before that, Beth, what is something you've seen on your job that was just strange?
Sometimes I wonder if the people who are hallucinating, either seeing people or creatures around them, if they're actually really seeing a cryptid or ghosts instead of it being all in their mind. But we've had haunted ambulances that
Really?
strange things happen on the ambulance that don't have anything to do with a patient or maybe a past patient. So it's pretty interesting sometimes.
All right, Christine, without going into what you're going to be talking about next week, what's something that's you've experienced paranormal?
Like, I don't know, walking around and seeing people that aren't really there, but to me they are, like people in period clothing, or just people that have passed on, and you see a glimpse of them out the corner of your eye. It's creepy, but it's cool.
Well, I was out on a ghost hunt one night. I was with a team and we were investigating. If I remember correctly, it was a restaurant down in Theodore, Alabama, and Lynn didn't go. My wife Lynn didn't go, and she was sitting there playing on my computer or whatever, Facebooking or something. I don't remember. This has been several years ago, but she's she was there by herself, and while she was just sitting there, she began to smell her grandmother's perfume. Her great grandmother that had passed several years ago, and that had nothing to do with anything. I mean, nobody had been in my place that had that kind of perfume on, and it just made her think of her great grandmother that had passed away, which was a unique experience and happens to folks all the time. And we're going to be talking about things like that on the podcast. And as we get ready for next week, our personnel paranormal stories, I wanted to give you guys, these guys have heard it. My executive team have heard, a little bit about why we're here where we're at and what brought us to this point. But most of you have never heard that. And so I want to go a little bit into the history right now of how we ended up with this live stream podcast, whatever we want to call it, called Strange Journeys. And to do that, I went. The story I'm going to share next week in the live stream is when I was a little kid and I saw a full-bodied apparition, and how I, without even knowing what I was doing, began to investigate it. I'm going to go more into detail on that next week in our first show with my story. But that gave me kind of a curiosity into all this. And so, like Beth, when I was a kid, I was actually watching TV when In Search Of was a nightly or weekly program. I remember when it premiered, and my big thing was Leonard Nimoy, Spock, was hosting it. so me and a Trekkie, I was glued. I mean, I watched every show. And when Unsolved Mysteries came along, I kind of got into it in and out, and would watch it from time to time. But it was In Search Of, and I was buying books, and this happened before I was really cognizant, but the abduction of the Two Men in Pascagoula in 1973 really grabbed my attention as a preteen and middle teen, whatever you want to call it. And I bought books on it and read everything I could on it. And I was at, for the late 70s, I was as versed in that event as you could be. There was obviously no internet, no YouTube. I could just, go to the library or the drugstore and buy whatever books I could find on it. And I was hooked. And then I got, began to grow up and all that kind of faded away. But about 20 years ago or so, I began to rekindle my interest and started watching all those ghost shows. And eventually came along, and I'm not going to name the shows because once I got out and got involved in it, I realized that a lot of those shows are not what they seem to be. And I'm not here to cast aspersions on anybody. Okay. It's just that I lost interest because what I experienced out doing my own investigations with a team was totally different than what was on TV, and it was very bad for me. And I just lost interest in them. So I was a member of a team here in the Mobile area. We investigated cemeteries and houses and restaurants and you name it. And I found myself out of work. And I'm an old parts guy, selling auto parts for over 20 years now. So I saw an ad on Craigslist of this company was looking for a tour guide to lead a haunted history tour. And so I'm like, well, yeah. I'd already been researching the haunted history in the Mobile area and figured this would be perfect for me. So I joined up, and I was going to show you with a company. Can you see that?
Oh, I made 642.
Can you see that, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Still learning the program, folks. Still learning how all this functions. I joined this company called Spirit Expeditions. And the reason I can share their picture and everything now legally is because they are defunct. They are no more, and they do not exist. And so I'm not going to cast aspersions on them either. There was just well, I'll get into that in a second. But anyway, they hired me to, at that time, write and lead a tour in downtown Mobile, Alabama. So never having done that before, I, began to watch tour guides on YouTube and different things. And I've been a musician since the early 80s. And so performing, speaking, whatever in front of a crowd was not an issue, and telling stories. So I put this tour together and began to lead it in downtown Mobile. And we became a popular tour. We would have 25, 30 people at the Spirit Expeditions tour, and they kept me booked. Excuse me. And it wasn't long until they asked me to be their national training director. And so I wrote a training guide and put it all together. And then after several months, it wasn't even that long, they made me a regional director where I had 30 or 40 tour guides that I was responsible for, and we began to work with them. Well, after some time that the company fell apart, and I asked the owner if I could take ownership of my tour. And so we began, I was going to show you this here. Let me get back over there. Whoops. I lost it now. Let me find it before I share the screen. Still learning the program, folks. I took ownership of the tour and began to change things around and modify it and perfect it. And we came up with Strange Journeys, a most unusual tour. And we began to continue. We continued our tours in downtown Mobile, and we toured for several years. Christine come on the tour, and we've had. I was just going to show you some of the pictures real quick of what we did. I welcome you to go. If you're watching this, you probably are watching it on our page, Strange Journeys, and I was just going to show you some of the tour groups. Here, let's try this.
You were on the news once, at least.
Yeah, I've been interviewed on the news and different things. Okay, come on. There we go. Some of our groups, whoops, I don't know what that is. We toured around the Church Street graveyard. There's Joe Kane's grave. And there's the Grim Reaper. One of our Halloween tours, we did a group, and I was dressed up as an outlaw, James Copeland, that terrorized this neck of the woods for a long time. And I got the noose around my neck as they finally hanged him. There's my wife and I, and she was the ghost bride. And there's Christine and the Grim Reaper. Some of our folks. Oops. Yep. We even did a time we dropped the prices for a while. Some different pictures. I'm trying to get back 2 pictures of yep. That was on tour one night. And we would do actual ghost hunts. Let me see, just some, yep, there we are, doing an investigation around an oak tree. There we were. Yeah, we were in the nappies. We were in the final votes. Unique thing about this lady in the wheelchair, as her husband there, and they had like 5 kids. They loved the tour so much, they came back about 4 or 5 times. And then she got better, had some treatment, and was on a walker for a while, and would even come back on the walker. And we had about a mile to walk, and she was a trooper, and she was always at the front of the crowd. It was just amazing. They really had fun. Some more investigations. And there's Barton Academy. Our tour usually went on across the road. As a matter of fact, we took that from our perspective one night on the tour. But here we are, people just enjoying having a good time. And the tour became, like I said, extremely popular. But then I don't know what happened. Things died off, and my wife and I have talked about it several times since then, that if I'd had an influx of money, we could have invested in the tour, but that didn't happen. So we stopped doing the tours, and after a time, we decided, well, what are we going to do with all this? Well, let me back up. We actually had expanded to a second tour. We had 2 tours running on different nights, sometimes different weekends. One in the Church Street district and one strictly in downtown around Royal and Dolphin Streets. So we had a good thing going for a while, and enjoyed it. But I had this idea while things were going good. I wanted to do a radio show. I wanted to do like a coast to coast AM, but it started like 10 o'clock on a Saturday night or midnight on a Saturday night and do a live radio show, and started doing the research and putting everything together, and just time and life happened. And then this past few months, I started thinking about it again. I was like, well, why not make it a podcast this time? So we got to the point where we're at now. I put out a little poll on our Strange Friends page. The Strange Friends grew out of the Strange Journeys page, where people who had been on the tour, we were inviting them to be in our Strange Friends group, and the Strange Friends group has grown to just fun, anything paranormal or weird. I mean, it's still connected and owned by me and Strange Journeys, but it's more of a general, just poking fun at the paranormal and just having fun with it. And every now and then, something serious. But we're going to keep that, and that's going to be just another arm of this. We'll keep posting those weird, funny memes and stupid stuff and that kind of thing. But on the Strange Journeys podcast page, it's going to be more for the straight paranormal and things of that nature. So that's where we're at today. I put out that poll, and one of the selections on that poll was who would like to help. And Christine and Beth and Dagny and Tim and Andrea and Tommy and Donnie, they all said they would help. And so that's where we formed our executive team. And that's our history. But I want to tell you about what we want to talk about. Okay. Next week, our first official show, like I said, this is a preview. This is just a touch. This is not really what we're going to be doing. This is just introducing you to what we're going to be doing and to promote the show next week, which will be the Personnel Paranormal on Saturday, May 16th at 3 p.m. Central Time. And if y'all can share this preview video when we're done and share the page and that kind of thing, I would appreciate that. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I forgot to do this. There's that. Nope, everything. I thought I'd missed something, but I didn't. I thought I made a mistake, but I was wrong. Show topics. Several things we're going to talk about. Of course, paranormal. We're going to talk about hauntings, and we're going to be inviting some special guests on here. I'm not going to name them because I haven't asked them yet. Okay, I don't want to obligate anybody. Of course, the ones that are involved in this, I can talk about them. But the special guests that I want to have. They're not for next week's show, so I'm going to be contacting these special guests and asking them. But one of the special guests that I can mention, I just remembered this, a buddy of mine named Kent Rasmussen, and he's out of Salem, Oregon, and he and I met each other at Spirit Expeditions, the previous company. And he's got a paranormal podcast. Oh gosh, I done forgot the name. Hang on a second. My mind went blank. Histories of the Paranormal and Beyond. He's got one podcast in the can. It's on Spotify. That's where I found it. But he's going to have the next few being uploaded, he said, within the next few days. So it's called Mysteries of the Paranormal and Beyond. Be sure to check that out. And I told him I'd give a shout out and tell people about that. So if I can figure out how to link it, I'm going to put a link on there. But that's one thing we'll probably do too, is have other podcasts or other people that do this kind of thing, have them on here too. So some of the topics we're going to discuss are, of course, cryptids. Everybody loves cryptids, right?
Yeah.
So we're not going to just say, we're talking about Bigfoot, and then just talking about Bigfoot. We're going to try to get specific. Like the Alabama White thing, and talk about that. Talk about, specific sightings or whatnot. Actually, in Mobile, I uncovered 2 separate Bigfoot sightings. and we'll talk about those. I used to talk about them on my tour, but where people had specific dates and times. We had a UFO sighting in Mobile. Let me see if I can find that for you here real quick, because the lady, where'd it go? The lady that saw it actually, where's it at? Actually drew what she saw in this UFO sighting. Let me see here. I thought it was there, but it's not. Let's go back over here. She was driving home from she worked in downtown Mobile, and she was driving home one night and she saw this thing flying above the street or the road where she was driving. And it got bigger and bigger as she got closer, obviously. But if I remember correctly, her car started running rough and shut down, and then things got wonky. And anyway, after it was all said and done, she said it flew over the trees and disappeared, and that kind of thing. Once we go to tell the story, I'm going to go back and find all the details again and get them more specific. But I'm going to share this real quick. I'm getting some feedback on here somewhere, guys. She drew this picture after the experience, and that's what she says. That's what she saw. And if you look up in the top where you see like a view window, like the bridge on Star Trek, she says those were individual little dots you see in there. She said were the individual heads of people who were, or beings that were on the ship. So that's what? I can't hear you. You're talking at the same time.
Oh, sorry.
It looks like a Klingon bird of prey. Just the front part of it.
Well, actually, if we're talking Star Trek, to me it looks more like a medical ship from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Because they had the globe. Anyway.
Actually, Star Wars. Like when Luke Skywalker was on.
Yeah. Could be. All right, but we're going to talk about UFO specific things. I do. Huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, we got a comment. Y'all are looking good. Isn't that cool? Now Andrea's not feeling good, and I understand that, but at least she's watching. She's part of our team, and she'll be on here when she feels like it, when she feels up to it. And I know she's having a rough day. Plus, it's her son's 10-year-old birthday, so
Happy birthday!
Say happy birthday, everybody. Tell him happy birthday. Well, I'm glad you made it. All right. I do want to talk about on one of the shows the 1973 abduction in Pascagoula, Mississippi, because one, it's close by to where we're at, and two, for about 30 or 40 years, nobody paid attention to it. It was ignored. I mean, like I said, as a kid in the 70s, I knew about it. I'm reading comments, folks. So I knew about the abduction and had studied and researched it, but it was like all the national news were talking about all these other things everywhere else, and nobody was, I say national news, national stories on History Channel or whatever. nobody ever talked about that one. So it just kind of left me like, what? This was legit as far as the UFO community is concerned. But here in the last few years, it's been picked up and people have been started talking about it again. One of the men has died. The others finally come out and started talking about it, actually written a book. There's a documentary that I downloaded from my cable about it. And they found different sightings the same night in the area, which is cool. And so we want to talk more about that and some of those things that have happened there. Again, I want to talk about some paranormal teams that I know personally to get them on here. I know a filmmaker that makes paranormal documentaries. I want to get him on here. We've got, and like I said, I haven't asked these folks yet because we're still putting everything together and lining it up. And like I said, today is just a test and a promo to tell you all about next week. So we're going to be doing all that soon. So what are some of the favorite topics, Christine or Beth, that y'all want to talk about in this series as we go throughout this?
What don't I want to talk about is easier to say.
Right?
Ghosts, local hauntings here, or if listeners have really good ones other places, especially close enough to where we can go check it out for ourselves, that would be awesome. I love to travel.
You bring up a valid point. One thing we want to do with this is in our live streams like this, then some of us will be here and then we're going to send out like live reporters on the scene kind of thing, where one of us will be at a location talking about whatever the subject is that night. We want to do some of that and have that as part of what we do. All right, Christine, what were you fixing to say?
I'd love to hear some stories about angels and demons and personal experience of other people. Kind of helps you feel like you've not lost your mind.
You're not alone. That's right. Mm-hmm. Well, one thing I always said on the tours, and I've never heard anybody else say this, so I'm taking ownership. This was my saying. The only true irrefutable evidence of the paranormal is personal experience. And the reason I say that is because what you experience, nobody can contradict. If you saw it, if you felt it, if you lived it, then nobody else can say naysay it or prove it wrong. So the only true irrefutable evidence of the paranormal is personal experience. So whatever you went through is your thing. And that's why, we say we're going to respect other people's beliefs and their experiences, because that's the only truth to me in the paranormal and the hunt for the paranormal. It's not that we get EVPs, and those are cool. It's not that we get video evidence. It's not that we get a spirit box saying a certain thing. It's what was the experience for the individual. And that's what bottom line comes down to. We're on this live stream is where everybody's sharing their experience. The people we talk to are going to be sharing their experience. Our team is going to be sharing their experiences. And as we go forward, hopefully encountering some new experiences that we all go through.
Got a question.
Yeah.
I'd like to know if anybody else has experienced disembodied eyes. Like you see eyes out in the distance, but there's nothing attached to them. Just eyes watching you.
Sounds like Skinwalker Ranch to me. They say it is not necessarily eyes, but they'll see like an orb or something, but it opens and they see things through the opening.
Peeking through.
Yeah, well, like one time it was at night and one of the orbs opened up and they saw daylight on the other side, a blue sky. So I don't know if that is an eye like you're mentioning.
I'm talking about like actual
Yeah, right. I've never seen that, never heard of that, but
I've
we could
heard of
dig
it.
into that.
It's
Yeah.
creepy when you go see it.
I bet.
I don't want to see it.
I've seen it. It's creepy.
I imagine.
Okay, well, see, here's my, that we joke about it and have fun, but that was one of my big issues on those national ghost hunting shows. They go out there hunting and investigating, and then when something pops up, what do? They
Run.
scream, drop all their equipment, scream like little girls and run the other way. Why are you even out there?
Oh, I wouldn't run away. I'd run towards it, but I wouldn't run
Oh.
away.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because it's strange.
Well, I mean,
I want to know what eyes I'm looking at.
Well, see that the investigations I've been on, thankfully we never had anybody like that on our teams. I mean, you go in there, and well, okay, let me tell you the cigarette story. All right, we're investigating this little restaurant. There's probably 6 of us in the restaurant. After 10 o'clock at night, and me and my buddy. One of us are in the dining room. The rest of them are in the back somewhere else. Don't know where they were at. Don't know what they were experiencing. But it's pitch black in the dining room. So we've got our flashlights and we're shining around. My buddy goes and sits down at a table 2 or 3 tables away. And so I'm thinking, I like old school. I've got some of the gadgets, but I like a lot of old school experiments. And so, but I didn't have anything with me at the moment. All of my gear was in another room. So I took an empty table and I took a cigarette out of my box and I set it down on the table. Just set it on the table. And they had a couple of salt and pepper shakers. So I took some salt, sprinkled it out on the table, and then I scooped it all together and made a line right beside the cigarette. So you got cigarette and then a line of salt. So that was my experiment. Took a couple of pictures. Then I went back, walking around the room, shining different things, looking at different things. We're doing a session, recording and trying to see if we could get some EVPs. And it might have been 5 minutes. It might have been a little less. It might have been a little bit more. But a few minutes later, I came back to the table and I shined my light down on the table and the cigarette was gone. And the line of salt had a gap in it, like somebody had run their finger through the salt. And I just like, holy cow, what happened, And I thought, well, maybe the table is wobbly and the cigarette rolled off. So I'm shining my flashlight around the floor, under the legs, under the chairs, no cigarette. So I widened my search, some of the other tables, no cigarette on the floor, anywhere. I'm shining my light around everywhere. My buddy's still sitting about 2 tables over. So, and the whole time I'm talking to him, it's like, dude, the cigarette's gone. So I'm shining a light and I look over and I see him on the table and he's facing one direction. And behind him on the corner of the table was the cigarette. Just sitting there right on the edge of the table like it was about to fall off. And well, he almost screamed like a girl, but he didn't. He was like, oh my God, that was right there behind him. He had no clue. And that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. That was personal experience. I know what happened. I mean, I took pictures of it, but I don't have video showing the cigarette floating to the other table. There's no way to prove that. I don't have physical evidence. I don't have video evidence, but we know what we experienced. And that's what we're going to be talking about on the Strange Journeys live stream, is that personal experience of the different people we have on, of our guests and our team. We're also going to talk about strange disappearances, strange deaths, any paranormal experience, strange places, paranormal places. I want to talk to some empaths, some psychics and mediums. I know some. And, whatever we believe about those things, that's not going to come into that. We're going to respect them, and we're going to talk to them with full respect for what they do. And one that has really intrigued me the past several years is Black Eyed Kids. We're going to talk about that. I want to delve into that a little bit, and each one, see if we can actually find someone who has experienced Black Eyed Kids. And what brought that up to me was a couple of months ago, 2:00 in the morning, or about 2:30, our doorbell rings. We're fast asleep. And we jump up like, what in the, 2:00 in the morning, who's coming to our house at 2:00 in the morning? And, we look out the windows and everything, and nobody's around. And then the next day, or the next day or two, I turned around and ordered a doorbell cam. I was like, this ain't gonna happen again. And then within a day or two of the doorbell ringing at 2:30 in the morning, somebody on one of a little Facebook group I'm in for the town we live in asked about these kids going around ringing the doorbells. I'm like, oh crap, here we go. And that was the first thing I thought of was Black Eyed Kids, and that kind of resurfaced the desire to check it out and get back into it. So we want to talk about that. And another one, I know it's happened to other people, but I want to talk about what I call phantom phone calls. We're going to talk about this on somewhere down the line. I'm working out the schedule of, the topics of the shows coming up. But I personally have received some phantom phone calls, and I've recorded them. And I've probably got 10 or 12 or 15 recorded that are just unusual. All right. And that's what I want to talk about. Plus, I'm sure there's other people out there that have gotten, I've heard about, they come home and check their years ago when you had, answer machines, and the strange voice is on the machine. So I want to talk about stuff like that. I mean, the ones that I've got are not, they don't sound evil. They don't sound demonic. They're just weird, and you'll hear them. I just got to figure out a way to get it on here where I can actually share it. All right, and let's see. Oh, another thing we're going to talk about is mysterious booms. And some of you remember, if you're in the Mobile area, a few months ago they started reporting about these mysterious booms. And they don't sound like much at the moment, but when we get into this, when I start explaining what I mean by mysterious booms, you're going to say, "Oh, that is weird." So, just get
Jackson County heard that too. It wasn't just Mobile.
Right, exactly, and it's happened in Mobile. I know at least 2 or 3 times in the past 20 years, 20, 30 years, and in other places. We're going to dig into all that too. So, but that's some of the topics we're going to, and as we get on, there'll be more topics added. One of the cryptids that we want to talk about that one of our executive team, Tim Shepard, has come across is one called the Skin Man, the Stick Man.
Mm-hmm.
And it first started showing up in Topeka, and that's where he found out about it, and he started researching it. And then he was telling me that they found out in Europe, they started having, it's a 2-dimensional ghost type, not a ghost type figure, but like an apparition. I'm not sure. So I'm not going to go into it right now, but Tim Shepard is going to explain all that, and we're going to delve into that one thing. And of course, water cryptids. Beth shared something with us the other day. Where was that? There's some kind of creature
somewhere in Florida. I can't remember exactly where because it didn't say on the YouTube video.
Right.
But I'll add it to strange friends as well, not just our executive group. So
yeah.
But if you've watched Paranormal Caught on Camera, you've seen it.
Okay.
But it's a little, I think this was a little longer because she actually put it up, the woman who filmed it.
Yeah. That was weird. because it was something big in the water, and they don't know what it was. So we're going
Made
to
me
talk
think of
about
a giant
things like
snake.
that. All right. Now, like I said, all of this is in preparation today for our show next week, the Personnel Paranormal. You know what I said? Personnel Paranormal. Sometimes I get it backwards in Paranormal Personnel, but that's we don't have ghosts on our personnel. So our team. So it's our Personnel Paranormal show where each person will be sharing their paranormal experience, the most poignant experience, or what's got them started in it. So, but be looking forward to that, and if you can join us on that. Had a woman I used to work with at the truck stop. She said, the TA in Grand Bay is haunted.
I've heard
I
that.
never thought about it while I was there, but it might be a good place to do a live broadcast from somebody from the team. Go down to the TA truck stop and see what can be found. Thank you, Brandy, for sharing that. That's awesome. We'll get there. Andrea says, yet, no ghost yet. Well, you never know. We may have somebody join the team from that. Before we log off today, I want to tell you, first off, we have a website, but it's not live. Okay, it'd be strangejourneys.live. So if you go to the Strange Journeys page and go through our links, you'll see it, but it won't take you nowhere. I don't have a website set up yet. We're using the Strange Journeys page at the time for all the information that we're getting out to the public and to our viewers, audience. But there are a couple of merch sites that are live, and I want to show you those right now. This is specific merch for the show. Okay, it's t-shirts and coffee mugs and stickers that are directly, these are ours. Okay, these are our designs that we came up with. I'll just do it this way: apparel, t-shirts. You got different UFO t-shirts, unicorns, Bigfoot, and I'm wearing this one today. That's the one I got on. Squatch saw me, but nobody believed him. So, we've got that. And those, like I said, they're ours. I came up with these designs, and we're putting them. Oh, by the way, the Squatch saw me. See, they're our designs. They're branded with strangejourneys.live. So if you go there, you are directly supporting us in the show. We've also got a general. This is just a general weird stuff. Where'd it go? Yeah, there it is. Okay, let me get back up here. This is Strange Journeys, Strange Stuff. This is just weird stuff. Okay, this is not specific to us. This could be anybody's cryptids, haunted, paranormal, or supernatural. But let me show you what this site is. It's everything paranormal, and you just pick a section up top, and you got books, stickers, DVDs, t-shirts, yada yada yada, all kind of stuff. I put supernatural, but honestly, it brought up a lot of the shows supernatural, which I love, but that's okay. But a lot of different things. But let me show you real quick how this website operates. This is an eBay reseller site, which, let me do this. Where's that? I'm going to put that up there. That's the website there, okay? You see it on the strangestuff.live. So, all right, say you're interested in Bigfoot. Under cryptids, you go to Bigfoot. And I tried doing the others, but they don't show up. But anyway, here, let's just do a shirt. All right. Say a Bigfoot shirt. I don't know why I brought up Loch Ness Monster. But anyway, what this does, it goes to eBay and picks these things out under, cryptids, Bigfoot. All right. So what you do is you find one you like and you go purchase. And look at this. It takes you to your eBay site. See, this is mine. See it up there? It takes me to my eBay site. This will take you to your eBay site and you purchase the shirt there. All right. That's the beauty of this site. And so it doesn't, you don't give me or anybody here your credit card information. It takes you to your eBay site, and that's where you make a purchase, but we get a dime off of it or something. So, but anyway, we've collected a bunch of weird eBay stuff on there to kind of help us out so that we can do all this. Believe it or not, some of this takes money, and so I'm footing the bill right now, which I don't mind because I want to do this. So, and the other, there's the website for the specific show merch. Okay. All right. Well, we are going to wrap it up here. All right. And remember, next Saturday is our official first show called Personnel Paranormal. And you're going to be hearing from each one of the team that's able to make it. Like I said, this is informal. You've seen we're not professional at this. We're just enjoying it, having fun. And you're going to hear Christine's story. You're going to hear Beth's story, and whoever else can be there. Because the whole team can't make it every time. And we've seen that. A couple of them wanted to, couldn't. And so we're just going to go ahead and just do it. And whoever can show up we'll hear their story. And then, I think we're going to do this bi-weekly at this time so that it doesn't put too much on anybody's plate. And there you go. We're going to next Saturday. Remember that. Put it on the calendar. Saturday, May 16th, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Personnel Paranormal. All right, guys. Tell everybody bye.
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 See y'all next week. Thank you for being here. Bye.
Bye.